Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's PLC. My name is Natasha Dhillon, and I'm excited to share research and strategies around a topic that bridges both literacy and mathematics. It is visualization strategies in word problem solving. This work stems from my graduate research paper at Rutgers and is connected to our shared goals of equity, accessibility, and interdisciplinary instruction. Students with disabilities, struggling learners, and multilingual learners often face compounded challenges when solving word problems. In fact, word problems can be a challenge for a lot of our students. Solving word problems requires students to read and understand the problem first, highlight key information, organize data or make a diagram to represent the data, translate the words into math expressions, choose a strategy to solve a problem, implement the strategy, and check back to make sure their work is correct. So success in problem solving requires not just math reasoning, but also reading comprehension, vocabulary knowledge, and the ability to translate text into abstract representation. That's a big cognitive load for our students. As teachers, we have also seen that when our students have difficulty understanding and successfully solving math problems, this sometimes leads students to have math anxiety or math phobia. We want to change this and offer our students opportunities to build comprehension and gain success in their math processes and ultimately have a positive effect with math. We use different strategies to help our students reduce cognitive load, like the 3-read protocol, which involves 3 readings of the problem to make sure students have comprehended the problem successfully. Another powerful tool we can use is visualization strategies, like diagrams, number lines, and bar models, which can reduce cognitive load and make these problems more accessible and help students build confidence and reduce math anxiety. Let's look at this example here. Ava and Lorenzo love to read books. Ava has 5 books that are on her reading list, and Lorenzo has 3 books on his reading list. How many books should Ava give Lorenzo so that they both have the same number of books on their reading list? So we need to decode the text here. Ava has 5 books, Lorenzo has 3 books. For a student with learning disabilities or a multilingual learner, this may be difficult to understand without scaffolds. So the teacher could instruct saying, let's make yellow squares for each book that Ava has and green squares for each book that Lorenzo has on their list. Ava has 5 yellow squares and Lorenzo has 3 green squares. Once we provide this visual, it becomes easier for students to see that if we give Lorenzo 1 book, then they will both have 4 books each. If the teacher had just put the numbers 5 next to Ava's name and 3 next to Lorenzo's name, students may find it more difficult to understand. So the visual has helped students decode text, organize information, and construct meaning. So we can see that visualization isn't just a math tool, it's a literacy scaffold. For multilingual learners and struggling readers, pairing visuals with text scaffolds can be transformative. This supports equity in access to grade level content. I looked at 6 research studies that analyze the role of visualization in math processes. Parkar et al. Investigated how visual reasoning can support young learners in bridging the gap between verbal problem statements and mathematical operations. Students were given arithmetic word problems that required visual modeling, and their performance was compared across tasks with and without visual support. The study found that students who used accurate visual reasoning performed better on word problems, and students with strong reading comprehension created better visual representations and solved problems more successfully. Sahin Kaya et al. Recognized that problem solving requires reading comprehension and mathematical reasoning skills. They designed problem solving tasks which included visuals that were designed to support comprehension of the problems. Results from their studies show that visuals significantly improve students' performance, and students reported that the visuals helped them understand and solve problems more easily. Ayabe et al. Investigated if targeted instruction would improve students' ability to construct diagrams that were appropriate for problem solving and to examine the effect of problem solving performance on their cognitive load. The students were given instruction in the use of visuals to solve math problems. After instruction, students were assessed, and it was found that instruction led to increased and sustained use of problem-appropriate diagrams, improvement in correct answer rates after instruction, and students reported a lower cognitive effort when they used appropriate diagrams. This study emphasized the power of explicit instruction in diagram types. Moleco's study explored how linguistic factors affect a student's ability to visualize math problems. It was done in South Africa, in a region where the dominant home language is Sesotho, but the language of learning and teaching in school is English. So these students could be considered as English language learners. Teachers reported that students had difficulty forming visual images of word problems due to language barriers like poor reading skills and difficulties in code switching. Teachers frequently adapted their instructions by simplifying the language and using visual aids. But they felt unprepared to address this linguistic diversity effectively and wanted professional development in language and integrated math instruction. This study highlighted how language barriers hindered visualization, especially in multilingual contexts. Another study by Van Garderen investigated how students with learning disabilities, average achieving students, and gifted students use visual imagery when solving mathematical word problems. The study revealed that gifted students used more effective visual imagery, and students with learning disabilities often used less effective or irrelevant imagery, such as decorative or literal pictures. It was also noted that they were less likely to use visual strategies spontaneously and had difficulty translating verbal information into spatial representation. These findings show that there is a significant gap in how students with varying abilities access and apply visual representation to support mathematical reasoning, and especially for students with learning disabilities who often use less effective visuals unless explicitly taught. Lastly, a study by Bonin et al. Examined how different types of visual representations, spatial ability, and reading comprehension affected students' success in solving word problems. This study showed students who produced accurate schematic visuals had significant increased problem-solving success. As we synthesize the findings across these studies, several clear themes emerge. Visualization consistently improves both comprehension and problem solving, whether it's number lines, bar models, or schematic diagrams. These tools help students decode text and connect it to mathematical reasoning. Explicit instruction is critical. We cannot assume students will spontaneously use effective visuals. Research shows that direct teaching of representational strategies makes a significant difference, especially for students with disabilities. Literacy skills like reading comprehension and spatial ability play a major role. Students who can read fluently and organize information are better able to construct accurate visuals, which in turn boosts their math success. Not all visuals are equally effective. The study by Boonin found that schematic diagrams dramatically increase problem-solving success, while pictorial or inaccurate visuals actually reduced it. This tells us we need to guide students towards the most helpful representations. Language barriers can hinder visualization. Moleco's work reminds us that multilingual learners need bilingual supports and simplified texts to fully benefit from these strategies. Finally, these findings align beautifully with the response to intervention framework. Visualization fits into tiered instruction and ensures that all learners, regardless of ability or background, have equitable access to problem-solving success. The integration of visualization strategies into word problem instruction is not only about improving students' math outcomes, but also about equity. When teachers embed visual scaffolds into instruction, they provide multiple entry points into complex tasks and ensure that all students can participate in learning meaningfully. When teachers teach representational reasoning explicitly by modeling how and why particular visuals are used to solve problems, they ensure that students construct meaningful diagrams rather than rely on pictorial or incomplete imagery. To help multilingual learners and students with limited reading proficiency, Teachers can pair visuals with bilingual supports, provide simplified texts, and fluency routines that can help students comprehend word problems more meaningfully. It is important to differentiate the types of scaffolded supports, as learners with disabilities may require additional scaffolds, while gifted students would benefit from opportunities to extend their reasoning with more complex visuals. When teachers model how to translate text into schematic visuals, they are also teaching students literacy skills like summarizing, identifying key details, and organizing information. This shows us the importance of collaboration between literacy and math educators. Bursack and Damas text situates literacy instruction within a multi-tiered response to intervention framework, and visualization strategies fit into this model. In Tier 1, which represents universal instruction, all students benefit from explicit teaching of visual routines, which are embedded in daily math and literacy instruction. In Tier 2, which targets small group support, students who need additional help can receive guided instruction with visuals, using sentence frames to describe diagrams and manipulate materials to strengthen spatial understanding. In Tier 3, which is intensive individualized support, students with significant needs may require language scaffolds, bilingual support, technology-enhanced interventions, and repeated reasoning routines to build comprehension. This tiered approach ensures that visualization strategies are accessible to all learners and adaptable to the diverse needs of students with disabilities. Most research studies shows us the immediate benefits of visualization strategies on mathematical problem solving. It is important for educators to know and understand the long-term impacts of implementing this intervention. So longitudinal studies are needed to explore how explicit instruction and visualization strategies and students' sustained use of visual influence their literacy and mathematics outcomes. With the increased use of technology in schools, it would be beneficial to investigate if integration of technology-enhanced interventions like apps and digital manipulatives could provide interactive ways to support the strategy. It is important to have professional development in this strategy to equip teachers with the skills to integrate language and visual scaffolds effectively. To summarize, visualization strategies in word problem solving extend far beyond the math classroom. They can function as literacy supports, tools for equity, and as both mathematical and literacy interventions. They bridge the gap between text and abstract reasoning, reduce cognitive load, and make learning accessible for students with learning difficulties and multilingual learners. It is essential to have explicit instruction and to have collaborations between literacy and math educators to ensure students achieve mathematical success. By embedding these strategies into the RTI framework, aligning them with literacy pillars, and supporting teachers through professional development, schools can create a culture where learners of all abilities can access and succeed in complex problem-solving tasks. I would love to hear from you about how you currently use visuals in math or literacy instruction. What supports do your students need most? And how can we collaborate to strengthen interdisciplinary teachings? Thank you for your time and have a good day.